Week 9 of the NFL season begins tonight with the Packers and the 49ers, and this is a brand new Kickoff with Kelly. Good afternoon and welcome into Kickoff with Kelly. I'm Kelly Warner and I'm here to get you ready for another week of NFL action. But first, let's take a look back at last week with another edition of Love It or Leave It. Penn Staters and Broncos fans alike were loving KJ Hamler after he made the game-winning touchdown this past week. The Chargers became the first team in league history to lose 3 consecutive games it had led by at least 17 points. LA began the third quarter of their game in Denver with a 21-3 lead after Drew Lock and the Broncos played the 2 worst quarters of football. But the Broncos came back and scored 28 second-half points, 21 of those in the fourth quarter. The Chargers kicked a field goal with 5 minutes left to put them up 30-24. This set up Drew Lock's clutch game-tying touchdown pass to one of my favorite Nittany Lions. It was a thrilling ending in KJ's first NFL touchdown, and following the game, he said it was the first game-winning catch he had made in that kind of situation at any level of football. I am very much looking forward to seeing KJ shine more in the NFL. The Patriots are leaving last week, having lost 4 in a row for the first time since 2002. It was just the 6th time in 41 games, 41, that Bill Belichick lost to Buffalo as head coach of the Patriots. The Patriots had 5 active wide receivers on the roster Sunday. All 5 were undrafted, 3 within the past 2 years. This New England team is outmanned every week on at least one side of the ball, and when Stephon Gilmore doesn't play, both. I remember on this show talking last year about the Pats' top defense. Their defense allowed Zach Moss and the rest of the Bills' run game to carry the ball 38 times for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. That feat has been allowed by Belichick's defense just 6 times across his first 20 years with the Patriots, and has now happened in consecutive weeks with the 49ers and Bills. Despite the issues, at the end of the game Sunday, the score was 21-24 and the Patriots had the ball in the red zone, a situation that in past, the Patriots typically ended one way. But Cam Newton's fumble with 31 seconds left in what became a 24-21 loss very well could have been the final blow to Patriots' hopes to win a record 12th consecutive AFC East title. I know I'm not the only one who sees this matchup and thinks of last season, when the 49ers blew out the Packers in their first meeting of the season and then beat them again in the NFC Championship. This season, the Niners are at the bottom of the NFC West, at 4-4, which is better than any other last-place team in the league and the entire NFC East, but still. In last Sunday's game against the Seahawks, Garoppolo was benched for the second time this season, apparently with another injury, not that his performance was worth leaving him in. George Kittle also went to the locker room with an injury in the brutal loss, and now they're both sidelined indefinitely. This Packers game really comes down to what Niners team shows up. They've shown on occasion this season that they can be better with a backup QB. The Packers still opened as only 2.5-point favorites, so for the sake of a safe pick and the revenge win, I'm going with the Packers. Moving on to this week, let's take a look at Sunday with this week's can't-miss matchups. Both of these teams are coming off big division wins and riding high coming into this. At first glance, the Seahawks clearly had the upper hand here, but this is a chance for the Bills to prove that they are for real. If the Bills beat the Seahawks at home, that would send a big message to the league and give them a lot of edge. The Seahawks opened as only 2.5-point favorites, so Vegas believes in the Bills too. I am a big fan of this Bills team, but I've seen what the Seahawks can do, and I personally would have expected that the Seahawks be favored by more. I've got to go with Seattle here. Last week, we also had a primetime matchup of 2 teams that were battling for top of the division, but these 2 are actually good teams with more than 2 wins. The big takeaway from the Saints last game was they're fighting, but this game is about the quarterback fight. The Saints are still good, but they're not looking as stellar as seasons past. The Bucs, on the other hand, are exciting and have these great offensive weapons, while guys like Michael Thomas haven't touched the field since week 1. The Saints may have bested the Bucs at the beginning of the season, but I'm going with the 4-point favorite Buccaneers to win. We've kicked off and now it's time to cash out. This is where I'll give you my locks of the week. First off, I had the Texans covering 6.5 against the Jaguars. Then the Chiefs cover 12 points against the Panthers. Finally, the Raiders-Chargers under 54 total points. That'll do it for this week's Kickoff with Kelly. Remember, brand new episodes every Thursday at 3 o'clock, streaming on Facebook Live. And if you missed us, be sure to check it out on Penn State Sports Night's YouTube channel. I'm Kelly Warner. Enjoy your weekend.